test. What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday. Break number 736 BD. We got an 8-box break of Donruss Baseball 2025. Here we go. Box number 1. What's up, Cards and Comics? For sure, let's see the big hits. We got a black laser to 39. Black laser to 39 in this one. All right, my friends, here we go. Box number 1. We got a red Hurston Waldrop. Red is to 99, 36 of 99. Braylon Payne on the acetate. That's for Milwaukee. Yachty on the Elite Series. Jacob Wilson on the foil. Bobby Witt Jr. on the Optichrome. Sammy Sosa. Alex Rodriguez on the Bomb Squad. That is Mike Mussina on the Aqua. That one is 10 out of 25. 10 out of 25. Charlene Susana. That's for Washington. Bert Campaneris for the A's. Aaron Judge on the green. Sunburst. Marvel. Cole Young on the foil. Brady House for Washington. Mike Mussina, Yankees. Aiden Miller for the Phillies. Jim Rice on the foil for the Red Sox. That's Dalton Rushing. Dalton Rushing to 39 for the Dodgers. That is 6 out of 39 on the Black Lasers. Our first auto is Ethan Anderson. Ethan Anderson for the Baltimore Orioles. Ryan Braun. Tom Seaver on the Milestones. That is Bryce Rainier for Detroit on the Sunburst. Hagen Smith for the White Sox. Kumar Rocker for Texas. That is a red Cliff Lee on the 18 out of 99. I want to say it's called Explosive or something. That is Boston Bateman, 17 out of 199. 17 of 199. Darren Baker on the Optichrome. Darren Baker for Washington. Bateman for San Diego. Jacob Wilson. Cam Smith for Houston on the green Sunburst. Sunburst of Nolan Ryan. That is an orange Mike Piazza. I believe that's 149. Nope, 199. 63 of 199 on the orange. Jim Rice. Box hit. That one is for Washington. James Wood. James Wood on the Diamond King box hit. Purple to 99. That's 84 of 99. That is Jacob Mizorowski, rookie pitcher in the All-Star game today, this year. Ethan Anderson. That's Baltimore. We got our first patch. That is James Tibbs III for the Giants. James Tibbs III, that's not numbered. Chipper Jones. Jackson Churio on the Elite Series. Chipper Jones on the foil. That's a green foil to 149 of Trey Savage for Toronto. 48 of 149. Greg Maddux. We got Kumar Rocker on the Unleashed. Enrique Bradfield Jr. on the foil. Kalen Culpepper from Minnesota. Manny Ramirez. Milestones of George Brett. That is a blue 142 out of 149 of Run Ricky Run, Ricky Henderson. That is Bryce Eldridge on the Optichrome for the Giants. Billy Martin. Christian Campbell, another All-Star, Unleashed rookie. Craig Biggio on the Sunburst. That is Owen Hall for Detroit. Our auto signature series. That is PJ Morlando. This one is not numbered. That one going to Miami. PJ Morlando for Miami. To finish box number 1. Box number 2. All right, box number 2. Box number 2, here we go. Jim Leland. Aaron Judge Elite Series. Will Wagner. Spencer Jones Bomb Squad. Ozzie Smith on the foil. To 199 on the orange, we got Spencer Arrighetti on the color match for Houston. Our first auto is a Pandora auto Dalton Rushing for the Dodgers. That's to 25, 8 out of 25 for the Dodgers. Lou Gehrig. Evan Carter on the Marvels for Texas. That is Noah Schultz for the White Sox on the foil. Boston Bateman for the Padres. Jake Bloss. That's a milestone, numbered to 199, 186 out of 199. That is Johnny Bench. Johnny Bench for the Reds. Tommy Troy for the Diamondbacks. Carlos Beltran. Unleashed of Jackson Churio. To 250, 8 out of 250. That's Austin Wells for the Yankees. Ryan Waldenschmidt on the Optichrome. Pedro Martinez. Kumar Rocker on the Marvels for Texas. There's Jace Jung for Detroit. Leo Tavares. On the Optichrome Auto, we got Malcolm Moore for Texas. Malcolm Moore. That's not numbered. That is 63 out of 199. That is George Lombard Jr. for the Yankees. Ken Griffey Jr. on the Optichrome. To 149 on the green, Hagen Smith for the White Sox. Caleb Lomavita for Washington on the acetate. Charlie Condon on the Unleashed for Washington, for Colorado. Nolan Ryan on the foil for the Rangers. There's Randy Johnson on the Optichrome. Alex Rodriguez, Texas. Colt Keith, Detroit Marvel. That is 237 out of 250. That is Miguel Tejada for Baltimore. Ryan Starling Caba for the Miami Marlins. There's Paul Skeens on the Optic. Spencer Jones on the green Sunburst. Bomb Squad for the Yankees. That is Dante Nori for the Phillies. George Lombard, Yankees. Terry Francona for the Red Sox. Mike Schmidt for the Phillies. There's Ian Kinsler on the Sunburst. 2 out of 25 on the cracked ice. Ian Kinsler, Texas. Colt Keith for the Detroit. Our Chase Burns for Cincinnati on our box hit. Coming attraction. As Marcelo Mayer for the Red Sox. That is purple. 84 out of 99. 84 of 99. Jacob Mizorowski. Our next patch goes to the Cleveland Guardians. That's Travis Bazana. Number 1 overall pick in the draft. Jairo Iriarte. Trevor Hoffman on the milestones. Foil, that one is Prince Fielder going to Milwaukee. Nolan Ryan to 99 on the red. Red optic to 99, Nolan Ryan for Texas. That's box number 2. Box number 3. Another black laser. Box 3, here we go. Box number 3. That's Miguel Tejada. Roman Anthony on the Elite. Foil, that is Rintaro Sasaki. Ethan Anderson. Pudge Rodriguez. Hagen Smith for the White Sox. There's Albert Pujols to 250 on the red. 54 out of 250, Albert Pujols. Braylon Doty for the Cleveland Guardians on the Optichrome. Prince Fielder. Travis Bazana. That's Will Clark for Texas on the Sunburst. Holy cow. Did I just see what I think I just saw? Colt Emerson. And our first auto is an on-card get-to-know-ya auto of Paul Skeens. Woo! This is the second get-to-know-ya auto I've pulled. Last one was Dylan Cruz. This one is Paul Skeens. It is an actual auto. The autograph is guaranteed by Panini of America. Who is your childhood sports hero? He said Ricky Vaughn. And his favorite sports movie, Major League. That is sick. That is super sick. Wow. Wow, what a hit. What a hit for the Pirates. Whee! All right, here we go. Keep going. Wow. Robin Ventura, Bobby Witt Jr. Elite Series. That is a foil of Jim Thome. Cracked ice of Ryan Braun to 25. 2 out of 25. Andrew Pinckney for the Washington Nationals on the auto. This one is 4 out of 15. 4 out of 15. Dustin Pedroia, Seaver King for Washington. Sunburst of Kevin Alcantara. That is going to Chicago Cubs. Well, you wanted to see a big hit, cards and comics. There it is. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Brady House for Washington. Andrew Jones, Jackson Churio on the foil. That is Jesus Made for Milwaukee, 30 out of 99 purple. Pedro Martinez on the Optichrome. Charlie Condon on the black lasers to 39. Charlie Condon, 21 out of 39 on the lasers. Behind that is a acetate of PJ Morlando for Miami. Charlie Condon on the Marvels. That's Mike Piazza. Carlos Beltran, Optichrome. Ozzie Smith, Prince Fielder. That is Colin Hawk for the Mets to 199. 41 out of 199. This Elite Series foil was Jackson Churio, was 104 of 199. 104 of 199. Nori for the Phillies. Nolan Ryan, green sunburst, Evan Carter, Texas. Bryce Cunningham, Yankees foil. Noah Schultz for the White Sox. Dylan Cruz, Brady House for Washington. There is Kobe Mayo on the Sunburst. Orange to 199, that is David Ortiz. 1 out of 199. Big Panda Bear, Pablo Sandoval for the Giants. Box hit, that is Ben Hess for the Yankees. How about Artist Proof? 24 out of 25 going to the Padres. That's Ethan Salas to 25. Cards and Comics. Did you see that? You asked for a big hit. You said let's get a big one, baby. Look at that bad boy. On card, Paul Skeens, get to know ya. Hagen Smith for the White Sox. Our patch goes to the Mets. That's Brandon Sprout for the Mets. Nick York. Milestones, Reggie Jackson for the A's. Michael Young on the foil. That is Jim Thome, red. Should be to 99. 68 of 99 for the Philadelphia Phillies. You got it, Cards and Comics. If they don't want it, send it your way. I got you. Oh, my goodness. That's funny, bud. That's funny. I like that. One more time. I got to look at that one more time. That is just gorgeous. Favorite player, Ricky Vaughn from Major League. Favorite movie, Major League. I love that. I just love that. That is classic, man, right there. All right, box number 4. Box number 4. Yeah. That is probably one of the sickest cards I've ever pulled. I love the fact that it's all his writing on there. Where are you from? Lake Forest, Georgia. What's your favorite childhood sports hero, Ricky Vaughn, and then your favorite sports movie, Major League. I mean, come on, dude. That's just classic right there. That is classic. All right, here we go. Box number 4. Box number 4. Come on, get some focus. There we go. There's Nick York. Paul Skeens. Sunburst Jake Arrieta. That's 27 of 79 on the pink lasers. Jet Williams for the Mets. Miguel Tejada. That is Theo Gillen for Tampa Bay on the box hit. On the purple, or actually that's red, 182 out of 250. 182 out of 250, that's Evan Carter for Texas. Oh, wow. Look at that. Game used bat of Leo Aparicio. That is going to the Chicago White Sox. Chicago White Sox, Louis Aparicio. On the game used bat. This one is also not numbered. That's pretty cool. Hall of Famer Louis Aparicio. There's Pudge Rodriguez. David Ortiz on the milestones. Nick York on the foil. To 149 on the green, we got Seaver King for Washington. We could center this more. There we go. To 149. 149 out of 149. Franklin Arias for the Red Sox. 149 out of 149. Dante Nori for the Phillies on the acetate. David Ortiz on the bomb squad. Pudge Rodriguez on the foil. Mike Schmidt on the optichrome. Robin Ventura. Joe Morgan. That is 88 out of 199. That is Christian Moore for the Angels. Carson Bench for the Mets. That is Braden Montgomery for the White Sox on the foil. Dustin Pedroia. Evan Carter on the green. Sunburst for Texas. Foil, that is Luke Keyshaw. PJ Morlando. Miami. Andrew Jones. There's Jordan Lawler for the Diamondbacks. There's Miguel Tejada on the foil. 15 out of 150. 15 out of 199. That is Roger Clemens. 51 out of... My dyslexia just kicked in, guys. Sorry about that. 51 out of 199. Roger Clemens orange. And our auto goes to the Giants. That's Josar Gonzalez. Josar Gonzalez. This one is 20 out of 35. 20 out of 35 on the auto. Dylan Cruz. We got a bomb squad of Mike Schmidt on the green Sunburst. Sunburst, Enrique Bradfield for Baltimore. We got Josar Gonzalez. Pablo Sandoval. That is Kumar Rocker, Blue Marvel. That one is 17 of 25 on the Blue Marvel for Texas. We got purple. That is 25 out of 99. That is Cooper Pratt for the Milwaukee Brew Crew. Junior Caminero, Optichrome. Prince Fielder, Unleashed. That is Vance Honeycutt for Baltimore. Colin Hawk on the foil for the Mets. Ryan Clifford for the Mets. Ozzie Smith. Evan Carter. Blue, that is 35 out of 149. That is Manny Ramirez for the Red Sox. There's Ryan Sloan on the Optichrome. Nolan Ryan. Jim Tomei. Dwight Gooden. Sunburst. That is Marcelo Mayer. We got a purple auto. How about Ryan Braun? Ryan Braun for the Milwaukee Brewers. 1 out of 25. 1 out of 25. Sorry about that, guys. Let me get this out of the way. All right, there's our first 4 boxes. All right, box number 5. All right, guys, here we go. Box number 5. Hurston Waldrop. Marvels of Matt Shaw. Ryan Braun. Foil. Black Lasers of Trey Yesavage for Toronto to 39. That is 13 out of 39. Our next auto is Jared Thomas for Colorado. That's not numbered. Roger Clemens. Gary Sheffield. Blue. That is 84 out of 149. That right there is Zebby Matthews for the Minnesota Twinkies. Ethan Salas. Reggie Jackson for the Yankees. That is right there. Evan Carter on the Marvels. 25 out of 199. 189 out of 250. There is Alex Gordon for Kansas City. Dwight Gooden on the Optichrome. Mariano Rivera. Brooks Robinson Milestone. Sunburst, that's Jordan Lawler for the Diamondbacks. Connor Norby for Miami. Orange to 199. 141 out of 199. Bobby Miller. Box hit is coming attraction. Brandon Sprout for the Mets. That is Arjun Amala for Toronto. 214 out of 250. The big surprise team in the majors right now is Toronto, man. How well they're playing. Detroit had a good team at the end of last year. But Toronto has come out of nowhere and is crushing in the East. Even crushing my Yankees. Noble Mayer. There's Starlin Caba for the Miami Marlins, excuse me. Not numbered on the Jersey King. Aaron Judge, Paul Skeens Elite Series. Foil of Kumar Rocker. That's a green to 149 of Carter Holton for Atlanta. 101 out of 149. Jake Peavy, Nick Kurtz, Oakland on the Marvel. Foil of Kevin Alcantara for the Cubs. Ryan Sloan for the Mariners. Heston Kjerstad. Bomb Squad of Kobe Mayo. That is Tony Perez, red, 59 out of 250. 59 of 250. Cam Caminiti for the Atlanta Braves on the Optichrome. Eddie Matthew for the Atlanta Braves. It says Milwaukee, it's the Atlanta Braves. Kirby Puckett on the Milestones. That is a sunburst of Catfish Hunter for the A's. Ryan Waldschmidt for the Diamondbacks. Our next auto is Cam Caminiti for the Braves. That one is not numbered. That is Kobe Mayo on the red to 99 for the Orioles, 28 of 99. Franklin Arias for the Red Sox on the acetate, James Wood. There is Mike Mussina foil, Jake Arrieta optichrome. James Wood, unleashed of Chase Dollander for Colorado. $128 out of 199. That right there is Dante Nori for the Phillies. Blake Burke. That's Jackson Churio. Rintaro Sasaki on the green sunburst. Gerangelo Cinchte for Seattle on the foil. Bryce Rainier. All right, box number 6. Box number 6. All right, box number 6. Here we go. Evan Carter. That's unleashed of Carson Bench for the Mets. That's Charlie Condon on the sunburst for the Rockies. Ethan Anderson for Baltimore. Jim Cott. That is an Unleashed of Kumar Rocker Purple. That is 11 out of 15. 11 out of 15. Kumar Rocker Unleashed. Nice hit for Texas. That's blue, 106 out of 149. 106 of 149. That's Kellen Lindsey for the Dodgers. Frank Thomas on the Optichrome. Pee Wee Reese for the Dodgers. Paul Molitor on the Milestones for Milwaukee. Nolan Ryan on the Sunburst. Willie Stargell orange to 199. That is 96 out of 199. Luis Angel Acuna for the Mets. Coming attraction, that's Charlie Condon on the box hit. Coming attraction box hit for the Colorado Rockies. That right there is 232 out of 250. That one is Spencer Jones for the Yankees. Spencer Jones. That is Colt Emerson for the Seattle Mariners. Our patch is a two-color patch. That's going to Detroit. That is Colt Keith, 4 out of 25. 4 out of 25. Edgar Martinez. Leo Tavares Unleashed. Foil, that is Will Clark for Texas. On the green, Dante Nori to 149 for the Phillies, 6 of 149. Cliff Lee for the Phillies. Aaron Judge on the green, Sunburst, that's for the Yankees. PJ Morlando on the foil. Dante Nori. Doc Gooden. That's Spencer Jones Unleashed for the Yankees. That is Jarlin Susana for Washington. 63 out of 250. 63 of 250. Colin Hawk for the Mets on the Optichrome. Jake Arrieta for the Cubs. Seaver King for Washington. That is Craig Biggio on the Sunburst. Brady House for Washington. Our auto is going to the Toronto Blue Jays. That's Trey Savage. On the green, Lomavita. Caleb Lomavita for Washington, the 149. 35 of 149. On the acetate, Chase Dollander for the Colorado Rockies. Charlie Condon for Colorado on the bomb squad. Johnny Bench on the foil. Connor Norby on the Optichrome. Jace Jung. That is for Detroit. Vlad Guerrero Sr. for the Angels. Miguel Tejada, that is to 199, excuse me. 20 out of 199 for the Orioles. That's Agustin Ramirez for the Marlins to 79. 13 out of 79. Ian Kinsler. It's a nice milestone of Mike Piazza going to the Mets on the Sunburst. That's a foil for the Mets, Carson Benj. Hagen Smith for the White Sox. Austin Wells for the Yankees. Ozzie Smith, Elite Series for the Cardinals. We have a redemption. We also have a Black Pandora, not numbered, short print. Kobe Mayo, our Black Pandora. How about for the Yankees? Spencer Jones. Spencer Jones, Black Pandora. These are not numbered. And our auto. Signature Series, not numbered. Card 75. J.D. Gonzalez. J.D. Gonzalez. I believe that's the Giants. I am not for sure. Go ahead and check that out. 2025 Donruss baseball checklist. All right, this is J.D. Gonzalez Signature Series autographs. Signature Series number 75, J.D. Gonzalez. Oh, that is the Tampa Bay Rays, guys. Tampa Bay Rays, that's going to. I think it's J.D. Dix. That's with the Giants. J.D. Dix. So that's Tampa Bay. J.D. Gonzalez. All right, that was box number 6. 2 to go. Box number 7. All right, here we go. Box number 7. Good luck, everybody. We got 26 out of 149. That's Jim Rice for the Boston Red Sox. Kyle DeBarge for Minnesota. Christian Campbell on the Jersey King. That is for the Red Sox. Jim Leland, Aaron Judge on the Marvels. That is Tony Perez on the foil. Frank Thomas, the Big Hurt. That is orange to 199. That is 76 out of 199. Jairo Iriarte, Cam Smith on the for Houston on the bomb squad. That is Takoa Roby for St. Louis on the foil. Ryan Clifford for the Mets. Colt Keith for Detroit. Barry Larkin on the milestone. That is 30 out of 99 for Pittsburgh, Levi Sterling. Levi Sterling on the purple. Noble Mayer on the Optichrome. Terry Francona. Rhett Lauder for Cincinnati. Sunburst of Kobe Mayo for Baltimore. Marcelo Mayer for Boston. Our next auto goes to Miami. That is P.J. Morlando. P.J. Morlando, 16 out of 49. 16 out of 49. Christian Campbell for the Red Sox. That's on the green to 149. 23 of 149. Bryce Cunningham for the Yankees on the acetate. That's Marcelo Mayer on the Unleashed for the Red Sox. Buster Posey on the foil. Buster Posey on the Optichrome. Jake Bloss. Yadi Molina on the Milestones. That is Blake Burke for Milwaukee. 116 out of 149. Little ding on this corner down here on the bottom right for Milwaukee. Just giving you a heads up. I will send you a wrapper. Carson Benj. We got Dylan Cruz. Leo Tavares. That is 53 of 99 on the Unleashed. Walker Jenke for Houston. P.J. Morlando, Miami. Andrew Jones, milestones of Ryan Sandberg There's Junior Caminero on the foil. That is a green Ethan Anderson to 149. 71 of 149. Our next auto is also Ethan Anderson for Baltimore. That is not numbered. Dustin Pedroia. Dylan Cruz. That is Owen Cassay on the foil. Josar Gonzalez for the Giants. Cassay for the Cubs. Robin Ventura, White Sox. There's Aaron Judge, 147 out of 199 on the Elite Series foil. That's Nick York for the Pirates. That one is to 250. 115 out of 250. 115 out of 250. Tony Perez on the Optichrome. Pedro Martinez, Rintaro Sasaki, Johnny Bench on the Sunburst. There's Bubba Chandler on the Pink Lasers to 79. 1 out of 79. Carlos Beltran. That is a coming attraction. Noble Mayer for the Miami Marlins. That is your box hit, Noble Mayer. All right. Sorry, I was writing down that I needed to send Milwaukee a wrapper. Box number 8. Here we go. Last box of the break. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. Last 24 packs. Here we go. Good luck, everybody. Buster Posey. Barry Larkin. Ricky Henderson. Jairo Irate for the Cubs. And our redemption, Signature Series Gold. Card number 26. Yu Min Lin. That one I believe is the Giants. I believe you are the Diamondbacks. One of the two. Let's go look. Number 26. Yu Min Lin is the Diamondbacks on the gold auto to 10. Gold to 10. Congratulations to Arizona. Red to 99. That's 79 of 99. That one goes to the Cubs. I mean the White Sox. Excuse me, the White Sox. Brooks Lee, Minnesota. Cam Smith, Houston. Blake Burke, Milwaukee. Ryan Clifford, Mets. What's up, Green Mountain? How are you today, bud? Jim Tomei. That is Gary Sheffield for the Yankees on the green sunburst. Jim Rice to 250. That's 53 out of 250. Kyle DeBarge. Let's get some halos. Give it a try. It's last box, Numanji. Let's see what we can do, buddy. Michael Young. Aaron Judge, Marvel. There's Mike Piazza. Roger Clemens, Optichrome. Let's get a Christian Campbell auto for you, buddy. Let's try. There's Mike Piazza on the orange to 199. That one is 152 of 199. Ethan Anderson for Baltimore on the acetate. Sasaki. Sunburst, Jim Rice. Josar Gonzalez. James Tibbs on the auto for the Giants. I think that's our last auto of the break unless we get an extra one. Mike Piazza, Dylan Cruz, Artist Proof to 25, that's Bryce Eldridge for the Giants. Matt Shaw on the Optichrome for the Cubs. Sammy Sosa. That is box hit of Hagen Smith. Greetings from the Chicago White Sox. Box hit. do a recap right after this box. That's Jacob Wilson on the Sunburst. Hurston Waldrop, Atlanta. That's to 99 on the red. 75 of 99. Bert Campaneris, Chris Davis. That's Evan Carter on the blue to 149. 46 out of 149. Hurston Waldrop on the Optichrome. Mike Mussina. That is Hagen Smith on the Unleashed. 14 out of 99. Sunburst to Bryce Eldridge. That's Leo Tavares. Ricky Henderson, Ryan Sandberg, Milestone. Ryan Walderschmidt for the Arizona Diamondbacks foil. PJ Morlando, Miami. Yadi Molina, Tommy White on the bomb squad. There's Michael Young on the foil. Tony Olivia on the purple. Purple 99 or 49, 16 out of 49. Jeff Bagwell, Connor Griffin. And our last pack of the break has our last patch of the break. It's a purple patch, should be, I believe, 25, I think? I'm not sure. Here we go. We got Jack Leiter to 25. How about 1 out of 25 on the Jack Leiter? Carson Benj for the Mets, excuse me. And our last patch. Wow, that's a 4-color patch. Well, 5 colors really. White, black, yellow, black, white. That is a 5-color patch of Bill Madlock, 23 out of 49 for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Nice hit. The Pirates kind of had a pretty good break. There we go. Let me put this stuff away. We'll do our recap. Here we go. recap time. To 250. We're going to start with the 250. All right, we got Jim Rice, Nick York, Jarlin Susanna, Spencer Jones, Tony Perez, Arjun Namala, Alex Gordon, Evan Carter, Albert Pujols, Miguel Tejada, Austin Wells. To 199. To 199, we have Mike Piazza, Aaron Judge, Frank Thomas, Miguel Tejada, Willie Stargell. That is Dante Norrie, Connor Norby, Evan Carter, Roger Clemens, Christian Moore for the Angels, David Ortiz, Jackson Churio, Colin Hawk, George Lompard Jr., Johnny Bench, Spencer Arrighetti, Mike Piazza, and Boston Bateman. To 149, Evan Carter, Ethan Anderson, Blake Burke, Christian Campbell, Jim Rice, Caleb Lamavita, Dante Norrie, Kellen Lindsay, Carter Holton. That is Zebby Matthews, Manny Ramirez, Franklin Arias, Seaver King, Hagen Smith, Ricky Henderson, and Trey Savage. To 99, Hagen Smith, Hurston Waldrop, Yario Irate, Leo Tavares, Levi Sterling, Kobe Mayo, Cooper Pratt, Jim Tomei, Jesus Maid, Nolan Ryan, Marcelo Mayer, Jacob Mizorowski. We got Cliff Lee and Hurston Waldrop. To 79 on the pink lasers, we got Bubba Chandler, Augustin Ramirez, and Jet Williams. To 49 on the purple, Tony Olivia. To 39 on the black lasers, Trey Savage, Charlie Condon, Dalton Rushing. To 25, that is Jack Leiter, Bryce Eldridge, Artist Proof, Kumar Rocker, Ethan Salas, Artist Proof, Ryan Braun, Ian Kinsler, and Mike Musina. We had one numbered to 15, that was Kumar Rocker on the purple Unleashed. Our acetate, Ethan Anderson, Bryce Cunningham, Chase Dolander, Franklin Arias, Dante Norrie, PJ Morlando, Caleb Lomavita, Braylon Payne. Our box hits, we had Theo Gillen, Ben Hess, James Wood. Those are Diamond Kings. On the coming attractions, we have Chase Burns, Brandon Sprout, Charlie Condon, and Noble Mayer. And greetings from the Chicago Southside White Sox, Hagen Smith. Our patches. Jersey Kings, not numbered. We have Christian Campbell for the Red Sox, Starling Caba for the Marlins. For the Mets, Brandon Sprout. For the Guardians, Travis Bazana. For the Giants, James Tibbs. And for the Chicago White Sox, that is Luis Aparicio on the game-used bat. Yes, this is game-used bat. To 49, that is Bill Madlock, and it also is player-worn material. Player-worn material to 49. And Colt Keith, this one is not player-worn, to 25. That is for the Detroit Tigers. We had one Black Pandora, that was Spencer Jones for the Yankees. Our autos, not numbered, we have James Tibbs, Ethan Anderson, Trey Savage, Cam Caminiti, Jared Thomas, Malcolm Moore, PJ Morlando, Ethan Anderson, and J.D. Gonzalez. This one, I believe, is to 49 on the red. Yes, it is. That is P.J. Morlando, red to 49. Josar Gonzalez. This one was to 35. 20 out of 35 for the Giants. Ryan Braun for the Brewers. This one is to 25. Also, Pandora to 25. Dalton Rushing for the Dodgers. To 15, Andrew Pinckney on the Aqua. Or teal, 4 out of 15. That is going to the Washington Nationals. To 10, Yu-Min Lin for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Yu-Min Lin, gold to 10. And our hit of the break, on-card auto, Paul Skeens on the Get to Know Ya, Paul Skeens. Get to know Paul Skeens. That is a sick card. Love this card. You guys had a great, good break here for you guys. Hope everybody hits something good. Hope to see you all next time. Have a great night, you guys. Peace.